The Haunting in Room 13, a hotel's dark secret. Once upon a time, in a small, sleepy town, there stood a grand hotel known as the Riverside Inn. This historic building, with its elegant architecture and old-world charm, had served as a haven for travelers for generations. However, beneath its luxurious facade, the Riverside Inn held a dark secret, Room 13. As the tale goes, Room 13 was closed to guests for many years. A terrible incident had occurred there long ago, leaving the room tainted with malevolent energy. No one dared to speak of it, and those who worked at the hotel avoided the floor entirely, fearing the horrors that might lurk within. One stormy night, a wary traveler named Thomas arrived at the Riverside Inn, seeking shelter from the torrential rain. He was a curious man, intrigued by the hotel's history and the infamous Room 13. Despite the warnings from the hotel staff, Thomas insisted on staying in that very room. The hotel manager, Mr. Johnson, hesitated but eventually relented, hoping Thomas was merely seeking an adrenaline rush. As the night fell, Thomas settled into Room 13. The ambiance was eerie, but he wasn't one to be easily frightened. He laughed off the spooky tales and drifted to sleep. The clock struck midnight, and Thomas was awoken by strange sounds echoing from the corners of the room. The walls seemed to whisper, and the air grew thick with an unsettling presence. He felt as though unseen eyes were watching him from the shadows. Brave, yet unnerved, Thomas lit a candle and explored the room. The walls bore ancient engravings, and a peculiar book rested on the dusty nightstand. It was written in an indecipherable script and seemed to exude an ominous aura. Ignoring his instincts, Thomas opened the book and began reading the strange incantations aloud. As he uttered the last words, an ominous wind howled through the room, and the candles flickered violently. The shadows twisted and contorted, coalescing into a ghastly figure. Thomas could barely believe his eyes. A spirit stood before him, tormented and vengeful. The spirit, known as Margaret, had been a young maid who fell victim to a sinister plot orchestrated by the hotel's previous owner, Mr. Hastings. In Room 13, Mr. Hastings had hidden dark secrets, using it as a secret chamber for conducting occult rituals to gain power and immortality. Margaret had been innocent, unknowingly caught in the web of Mr. Hastings' sinister plans. She had lost her life to the evil forces he unleashed, and her spirit had been trapped in the room ever since. Seeking revenge, Margaret's ghost vowed to torment anyone who dared to enter Room 13. Thomas was terrified, but realized that he must help Margaret find peace. He sought out the hotel manager, Mr. Johnson, and revealed the dark secret of Room 13. Though reluctant at first, Mr. Johnson listened to Thomas's account and decided to confront the hotel's grim history. As they delved deeper into the hotel's past, they uncovered a series of unexplained deaths and eerie occurrences associated with Room 13. The room's dark energies had affected countless guests and staff members, leaving a trail of misery and despair. With a newfound determination, Thomas and Mr. Johnson embarked on a quest to free Margaret's spirit and break the curse that plagued Room 13. They sought the help of a local historian, Professor Adler, who was well-versed in ancient rituals and spiritual cleansing. Professor Adler revealed that the only way to release Margaret's spirit and cleanse the room was to find a relic called the Talisman of Serenity. This ancient artifact possessed the power to banish malevolent spirits and restore harmony to the afflicted location. Together, they embarked on a perilous journey to locate the elusive talisman. Their search took them to forgotten catacombs, haunted forests, and long-abandoned temples. Along the way, they faced numerous challenges and encountered malevolent spirits that sought to obstruct their quest. As they got closer to their goal, the malevolent forces within Room 13 grew stronger, trying to prevent them from succeeding. The room itself seemed to come alive, with furniture moving on its own and grotesque apparitions lurking in the corners. Finally, after weeks of relentless pursuit, they found the Talisman of Serenity hidden within an ancient temple. The artifact radiated a soothing energy that calmed the restless spirits they encountered on their journey. Armed with the talisman, they returned to the Riverside Inn to face the horrors of Room 13 once more. Thomas, Mr. Johnson, and Professor Adler joined hands and performed the ancient ritual to break the curse. The room shook violently, and the air filled with an otherworldly glow. The spirit of Margaret appeared, torn between anger and sorrow. As she reached out towards the living, the talisman's aura enveloped her, soothing her pain and granting her release. Margaret's spirit finally found peace and ascended to the afterlife. The malevolent energies that haunted Room 13 dissipated, leaving behind a sense of tranquility. Curse had been broken, and the room was no longer tainted with darkness. The news of the hotel's redemption spread through the town like wildfire. The Riverside Inn, once avoided for its dark history, became a place of fascination and hope. Thomas and Mr. Johnson decided to share their tale with the world, ensuring that Margaret's story and the power of redemption would never be forgotten. As for Room 13, it remained closed to guests as a solemn reminder of the past. But the Riverside Inn itself thrived, attracting visitors from far and wide, eager to experience the hotel's rebirth and learn about the haunting in Room 13, the hotel's dark secret that had now been laid to rest forever. With the dark secret of Room 13 now laid to rest, the Riverside Inn thrived, and its reputation was forever changed. Thomas, Mr. Johnson, and Professor Adler became local heroes, celebrated for their bravery and compassion in confronting the hotel's haunted past. As years passed, the tale of the haunting in Room 13 spread beyond the town's borders, captivating the hearts of those with a fascination for the supernatural. The Riverside Inn became a destination for paranormal enthusiasts who hoped to catch a glimpse of the spirits that once dwelled within its walls. In time, the hotel was renovated and restored to its former glory. However, Room 13 remained preserved, untouched, and locked away from the rest of the guests. It became a poignant reminder of the darkness that once resided within and the victory of redemption over malevolence. Thomas, who had initially sought adventure and thrills, found a new calling in paranormal investigation. He and Professor Adler co-authored a book detailing their experiences, hoping to shed light on the unseen forces that coexist with the living. As for Mr. Johnson, he continued to manage the Riverside Inn, but his outlook on life had changed. He became more empathetic and compassionate, going out of his way to ensure his guests' comfort and happiness. The hotel staff noticed a newfound sense of tranquility that permeated the once haunted establishment. Over the years, the spirits of the hotel seemed to become more benevolent. Guests occasionally reported sensing a comforting presence or feeling a gentle touch on their shoulders, particularly in times of distress. Some even claimed to have had conversations with spectral figures, offering them solace and guidance. As the decades passed, the story of Room 13 took on the allure of legend. It became a tale that parents shared with their children, warning them of the consequences of dark deeds and the power of redemption. The Riverside Inn embraced its haunted past, offering haunted tours and hosting special events on Halloween, embracing the eerie reputation it had earned. Thomas, now an older man, had a lasting connection to the hotel. He occasionally returned to room 13, now open to public view, to pay his respects to Margaret and the other spirits. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the profound impact they had on his life. As Thomas stood in room 13, he felt an unexpected sense of warmth and peace. It was as if Margaret's spirit still lingered, grateful for the role he played in her release. He smiled, knowing that the horror he once faced had turned into a tale of hope and redemption. The Riverside Inn's haunted history continued to attract tourists from all over the world, drawn by the mysterious allure of Room 13. The hotel's fame only grew with time, and it became a cultural landmark, an embodiment of the power of forgiveness and the triumph of good over evil. And so, the tale of the haunting in Room 13 lived on, a reminder of the hotel's dark secret that was transformed into a story of redemption and the eternal bond between the living and the spirits of the past.